Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and welcome to McQueen Press. I'm talking about some pipelines again. Not just Dakota Access Pipeline, but there are actually 10 major projects being addressed by activists who are fighting them all around our nation. And then I'm going to talk about another one too. But this is an article at Alternate, not just North Dakota. Here are 10 more states where activists are fighting pipeline projects. And so they're saying that brave citizens are fighting hard to stop a number of big projects. This is by Alexandra Rosenman. This is an alternate and it's dated, okay, I don't see a date, recently. I feel that this is important because um, Standing Rock Sioux Nation and the Iowa farmers who were fighting the Dakota Access Pipeline in the courts and with filing paperwork and doing surveys and attending meetings and things like that for years, and then finally doing direct physical activist protesting on site, getting arrested, facing down authorities, uh, conducting civil disobedience. And so we've seen Standing Rock Sioux Nation and the Iowa farmers leading us, the rest of the nation, showing us how to do it, how it can be done, the steps that can be taken to face down unrestrained, unregulated, predatory fossil fuel corporate takeover of state governments. So they showed us how to do it, and there are other actions all around the country. Hopefully, the veterans who are still available for self deployment may find such an action nearby if they cannot make it to North Dakota to maintain vigilance at that site to ensure that despite the Trump administration taking power in January, that the pipeline still will not go forward in North Dakota and join the Iowa section, possibly contaminating the water source for several municipalities downriver where the pipeline is slated to cross, specifically Sioux City, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Kansas City, Kansas, St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, so there are quite a few pipelines beyond North Dakota. Let's see. In Ohio, construction of the 255-mile Nexus gas transmission project. This is a partnership between Houston-based Spectra Energy, so an out-of-state fossil fuel company from Texas, similar to Energy Transfer Partners, and Detroit's DT Energy is expected to begin by early 2017. So there is a battle also in Ohio fighting the Nexus gas transmission project. Okay, it says too in Iowa, they're again talking about the Dakota Access Pipeline, the Iowa section. And they're saying that it faced resistance in Iowa, long before it reached Standing Rock, as far back as July 2015. And so the Iowa landowners, in its path, urged the Iowa Utilities Board to reject the permits needed for the project to proceed. And so even the Iowa governor, Terry Branstad, said it was the Iowa Utilities Board who made the final decision to allow that pipeline to go forward. And so Bold Iowa, the group who has been protesting, they have pledged to keep fighting this four-state, 172-mile crude oil pipeline until it becomes operational. And so the direct action includes standing in court with Iowa landowners in the path of Dakota Access Pipeline, and they're still battling eminent domain abuse. The third state is Texas, and the Standing Rock, again, action has reinvigorated activists in other states. And so this is a 2-year battle in Texas to halt construction of the Trans-Pecos pipeline. It's 148-mile joint venture with Mexico's Federal Electricity Commission, the Comisión Federal de Electricidad. And so again, this is for export. It's not for domestic use. Speaking of the Trans-Pecos pipeline, I'm going to make a referral to TYT Politics and Jordan Chariton if you want to follow that more closely. He is reporting on the ground in Texas, the same way he reported on the ground in North Dakota. In Louisiana, the company behind the Dakota Access Pipeline is planning a 162-mile pipeline that would cut through Atchafalaya Basin and 11 Louisiana parishes. So resistance to the Bayou Bridge pipeline has spread worldwide. There are concerned citizens and environmental groups from New Zealand to South Africa. They've been gathering signatures, and as a result, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has called for a public hearing in which the water quality permits of the site will be assessed. So resistance and action and finding allies and spreading information about these pipelines, it does work. It does work. And so that's what's happening in Louisiana. In Florida, the Sierra Club, Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, and Flint Riverkeepers, they filed a motion in late October to expedite review of the Southeast Market Pipelines project. And so that includes the Sabal Trail gas pipeline. 16 demonstrators have been arrested thus far. In Alabama, on November 15th, outside the Army Corps of Engineers building, Huntsville protesters gathered in solidarity with thousands at Standing Rock. The Sabal Trail pipeline is set to cross 3 states and cover 500 plus miles, 86 in Alabama, 162 in Georgia, and then 268 in Florida. Okay, in Arkansas, the Diamond Pipeline is planned, 440-mile oil pipeline by Plains All-America Pipeline and Valero Energy Corporation across 14 counties and 5 rivers in Arkansas. The project is set to begin by the end of 2016. So that's what's going on in Arkansas. In North Dakota and Iowa, they're concerned about one river, the Missouri. In Arkansas, it's crossing 5 rivers. North Carolina, a nearly 600-mile proposed pipeline, drew protests in 3 cities on November 19th. Pembroke, Fayetteville, and Nashville. Hundreds marched in opposition to the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. This awaits review by Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC. And I've done videos on FERC. One was demonetized. It might be monetized now. I don't know. I need to check on it. But anyway, I did a more recent one that passed muster. But anyway, FERC could go either direction underneath a Trump presidency. If Trump appoints far right-wing members to the commission, it might go one way. If he appoints independents, something else might happen. But, we need to keep track of FERC. But anyway, Dominion Power and Duke Energy's $5 billion project would carry natural gas to North Carolina from fracking operations in West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. I've also done videos on fracking in West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and the fact that how these are red states now, Trump states, conservative leaning states, but there's fracking in these states, and this is the reason why. They're extracting natural gas to send through this pipeline. And in the meantime, there's water contamination as a result. And so people are still trying to make this a liberal issue. Like, you liberals, I'm like, okay, but so you want your children to drink dirty water? Come on now, let's common sense time. No one wants your children to drink dirty water. It's not a liberal conservative issue. It's not even a Republican Democratic issue. It's basically a class issue. It's the people trying to protect their own public health, the health of their families, the health of their communities, because we do not want to drink water with gas leak or with methane gas leakage in it, with fracking chemical waste in it, certainly not with oil in it from when the oil pipelines cross through these water sources. So it's basically a people versus corporate big energy fossil fuel companies issue. It's not a partisan issue. No one wants to drink dirty water. No one wants to breathe dirty air. No one wants to attempt to grow food in dirty soil. We want public health to be paramount. And so, whether it's West Virginia, Ohio, North Carolina, it's up to us, the people, to take care of our public health. Okay, so Pennsylvania, Sunoco Logistics pushed back the timeline for its Mariner East 2 natural gas liquids pipeline on November 12th. This project has not yet received the necessary approvals, even months after charging Huntington County residents who objected to the pipeline being built on their property. And this is in Pennsylvania. Okay, in New York, the National Fuel Gas Supply Corporation is waiting for approval from Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, to begin its proposed $410 million Northern Access project in western New York. Meanwhile, 50 miles outside of New York City, Spectra Energy's pipeline expansion project continues to face controversy. And I did a video on municipalities in New York that banned fracking in their communities. And it looked like practically every city in New York banned fracking. But there is still threats in the form of approval for pipeline building in western New York from FERC. And so people are fighting this issue. I'm going to go on to another article. This is a press release by the Green Party. The New Jersey Greens oppose the South Jersey gas pipeline. So this will be the 11th that I'm talking about in this video. They stand in strong opposition to the new gas pipeline proposed by South Jersey Gas. It would run 22 miles through protected areas of the Pinelands National Reserve in sensitive forest areas in Cumberland, Atlantic, and Cape May counties. And so there is definitely a risk. They're concerned about the destruction of the forests and the wetlands that would take place during the construction. And then also the potential for spills across the county, and the fact that other spillage from other pipelines basically provide evidence that these pipelines are not a safe way to transport gas. It's just a matter of time before the pipeline would leak and destroy the ecosystem. And so the aquifers in that region supply fresh drinking water to over 1 million people. And it's this water supply that's under threat. The pipeline would deliver gas through fracking, which has a high risk for releasing even more methane, a potent greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere. And so that's what the Greens are. The New Jersey Greens are fighting against. They're saying that any unmet energy needs of the residents can be taken care of by less intrusive and destructive provisions. They do not want South Jersey gas to degrade this area and destroy public health. And so the Green Party of New Jersey is calling on the Pinelands Commission to do the job it was tasked with and protect the pinelands from damaging and unnecessary development. They will have a public comment section or session of the approval process, which will close on January 24th. And so the Green Party of New Jersey will be hand delivering a petition to oppose the pipeline. So I'm going to add these links in the description, and you can see what various communities are doing to stand in solidarity with Standing Rock and continue to fight and to protect the integrity of their communities. The water, the land, the soil, the air, the people, public health, everyone upstream and downstream, everyone who's affected. We're all connected. Whether it's a pipeline over here or over there, it tends to travel and affect people nearby, near and far. So these are what various communities are doing. We've seen what's happening in Standing Rock, the North Dakota fight against Dakota Access Pipeline and Energy Transfer Partners. All around the country, all around the nation, there are other activists fighting. There may be one near you. I'm going to post these links in the description, and we can take the fight back to our own home communities and continue to make America better again. Good luck.